Today, in this interview of the secret sauce of large property managers, I have invited Pierre Ubis, who is the business development manager of Veeve. Veeve is a property management company based in London, but they've also scaled in Paris and in LA. They've opened offices there. So I had some questions as to how scaling works internationally. They now have over 1,700 homes, mainly luxury homes. And so Pierre was kind enough to share with me the ins and outs of marketing, distribution, technology, and also a very interesting way as to how they keep their owners sticky, stay with them, with their members club. So this is an interview not to be missed, which you can access both on podcast and on YouTube. And I'll see you on the other side. Cheers. So hi, I'm Vanessa from Renters United. We are a channel manager for vacation rentals, and I'm also the very proud host of the secret sauce of large property managers. And today I have the pleasure of welcoming Pierre, who is part of the team at Veeve. Hi, Pierre.
Hi, Vanessa.
Hi. So Pierre, let's launch ourselves straight into it. What is it that you were doing before Veeve, and what is your current position at Veeve?
Sure, yeah, of course. And first, thanks for having me. Really excited. And to tell you a bit more about myself. So my background, I used to work in five-star hotels. So I have very much a hospitality background. I worked in hotels for about 7 years before I joined Veeve. So traveled the world a little bit, worked in France, Switzerland, and then I went to London in 2012. I think I've always been super excited about creating memorable experiences for guests coming and what they would take away when they go back home. So I was actually Veeve reached out to me in 2013. And, back then it was a very small company. There was probably about 6 or 7 people in the business, but they were really looking to grow at a fast pace. And when they reached out to me, I think I was really excited and intrigued by the project, the opportunity to create those memorable experiences and what I had been really passionate about for so long, with the chance of really staying in premium homes was very exciting. So fast forward, almost 7 years now. We obviously have opened offices in Paris. That was in 2016. And Los Angeles just last year, where we do the same concept in those cities. In terms of the team, what I do, we have a team now that I look after, which is 9 people. And they would be looking after the guest inquiry. So, if someone wants to come to one of those cities and is looking for the best place to stay and the top recommendation locally, so they would be doing that. My role in particular, I look at the key partnerships. So if you think about our properties, how do we distribute them? And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And looking at making sure that we have the best visibility for those customers and guests looking to come in those cities. As a few examples, obviously the likes of Verbal, part of HomeAway, or more recently, since May this year, we have started a partnership with Marriott that has created their brand, Homes and Villas.
Wonderful. So you're a busy man. But tell me a little bit more. Tell me a little bit more about the offices. So now you sit in London. That's where the headquarters is. You have an office in Paris and an office in LA, correct?
That's correct, yes.
And how many people in total work for Veeve?
Now, it changes, but now we're about 60 people. So it's about 10 times since I started. So it's been really exciting to see that growth and change over the years.
Great. And how many rentals do you represent?
So in total, we have about 1,750 private homes that we manage on behalf of homeowners.
So tell me a little bit more about the Veeve brand. So you manage on behalf of owners, but what do you stand for? What is the brand all about?
Well, I guess our main goal is really to hotelify homestays and really professionalize short-term rentals. What we have done and what we're doing is to source the best private home rentals, and we're trying to apply a quality hotel-style service to it. Now, one thing that is quite specific is each home is unique. They have been designed by those homeowners. They're really looking after them. These aren't investment homes. They're usually private lived-in homes. And what they're looking to do really is to have someone who would look after those homes when they're out of town. And what we're doing is we're trying to enrich their lifestyle, obviously with the income that they would generate, but a little bit more as well through some partnerships that we do to try to really create a members club for them. So they would be having the opportunity to attend some events that we create, etc., which I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about later. But because these are their private homes, I think they're really looking for us to do it in a safe way. And obviously they really want us to look after their homes as if it was our own. And
Well,
obviously they want to...
Sorry to interrupt. Why don't we talk about it now? How do you recruit these homeowners? Are they mainly luxury properties?
So, I mean, I would call ourselves premium and high-end homes. So these are obviously, these are private homes. I mean, there are many ways for us to actually reach out to those homeowners. The first one, actually, about 30% of our new homeowners sign up are through referrals. So, you know, people might be referring their neighbors, their friends, their family after the service they have received with us. We obviously, as you'd expect, reach out to people online, which is a must. And I think, again, we don't want to see ourselves as only purely a transactional sort of platform, but we want really to inspire people. So, for example, in Los Angeles, we find that reaching out to people via Instagram is quite a good route to go with. Our homeowners would be, you know, there might be some of them architects, interior designers, and they really take pride of their homes. And I think seeing the same type of homes that are being managed by Veeve kind of inspires them to be part of that club. And we obviously reach out to people as well via direct mailing, for example.
Great. So it's a kind of loyalty program for homeowners. I've heard of loyalty programs for guests, but I've never heard of it on the other side, on the B2B side.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, what we want to do to try to separate us maybe a little bit from the rest of the competition, as I was saying earlier, is that sort of club feel. You know, these are like-minded individuals. They love travel. They love design, they love interiors, and we're trying to really do, there's twofold in a sense. The first one is to try to create some events where they can just come together and form a group. So for example, last month we have created an event where we had an art curator coming in one of our homes, and we invited some of our homeowners, and that person talked to them about purchasing art and decorating your home. And I think it was really exciting. I think our homeowners really enjoyed that. And we are as well looking at partnerships that we are signing with some lifestyle travel brands. So it's two things. First, it's how can they have some unique experiences in their own city, and in a sense almost live like a guest to a certain extent, and as well some partnerships that we have signed with some of those companies when they go and travel abroad and have some experiences which are tailored to what they want and what they're looking for. So again, it's that sort of dual thing to enrich their lifestyle through the revenue that they generate, but as well trying to really have that feel of belonging to a club.
So that creates stickiness, doesn't it? That's a great idea. I love it. Yeah. So you said hotelify your services. How does that work when every single home is, I mean, it's not a hotel, right? It's not a building. So how do you provide hotel-like services for guests when they're spread across the city? How does that work?
Well, obviously, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later on, technology has helped us a lot to sort of really cater the service for those private lived-in homes and being able to get this service across. Obviously, we have teams in the cities that are being accessible 7 days a week if there's anything needed. And to create that hotel-style service is really the first thing for us on the journey. If you think about it, when a customer comes, when a guest comes and is looking for a place to stay, is first, how do we manage to understand what they are after? And we have a team that is here 7 days a week. They are travel consultants who know the cities really well. They're all passionate about the cities. They know the best pubs, they know the best bakeries in Paris, they know the best restaurant in LA, etc. So they would really be helping these people to feel like they have a personalized service. And obviously, the standards that we set are hotel style ones in terms of the quality of what we bring in the home. And we have obviously some processes that we have developed along the years, which would be really catered for the fact that these are private homes.
Super. And okay, so let's move on to the subject of scaling. So you've scaled internationally, right? And you witnessed that growth since 2013. So how was it to open the Paris office? What were the challenges involved in doing so?
I mean, I think actually it was interesting because the concept that we have, we spoke a lot to our guests and we said, when you come to Europe, where are you traveling? And obviously London was the #1 destination, and very close by was Paris. And I think what we found is actually the customers that were staying with us in London were staying in Paris as well, and that's kind of what gave us the idea of really specializing in urban destination and starting with Paris. It has been really interesting. I think there has a lot of similarities in terms of the process. What has been really key for us is to find the right hires in those destinations, so people that have the local knowledge. Obviously, there are cultural, legal differences, and how do you manage to get people to know those? We have hired people in Paris and Los Angeles that really have that knowledge. And what we did is to be able to scale is the core functions in those cities would be people that look after the growth of our portfolio. So really being in touch with homeowners to try to grow that. Obviously the operations, but the rest around the marketing, the distribution and others has still been headquartered in London.
Okay, so you would say that's the trick. It's the team, but keeping headquarters in keeping operations, the umbrella operations in one place. Because I heard of some companies actually that tried to scale internationally in Paris and stopped after a year because they didn't manage to get through. So would you say, what's the secret sauce for Paris?
I mean, I would say for me, the secret sauce is really to find the right type of properties. I think that's for us what was the most important. We have been really focusing our time and effort on trying to find the best homes, and we knew that there were clients coming and guests coming to London and to Paris as well. So there was no doubt about the fact that people love Paris, people want to stay in Paris, and it's how do you find the right type of properties. I think for us that was the key to a successful launch and growth in Paris.
How many properties do you have in Paris?
So now we have just above 250 properties, but growing at a fast pace. So it's been a very interesting journey in the last 3 years in Paris. And
LA, what are the difficulties there?
Obviously, as you know, there are difference in terms of regulation depending on each city in Los Angeles. So we're focusing on those which are probably a little bit easier to get the rentals. I think in Los Angeles, our homeowners are probably more aware of the property rental and the business in itself. So I think some of those homeowners would have done this business themselves before. They might just feel that it's quite challenging, but they have a lot of knowledge. Whereas we find that in Paris and London, they aren't necessarily as knowledgeable about it. I think obviously the rental in the US has been going on for years and years. I think in Europe, especially in urban destination, is a bit more recent.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to technology, a subject that's close to my heart, obviously. Can you tell me a little bit, what has Veeve built in terms of technology? Do you consider yourself a tech-enabled property manager?
I would say yes, absolutely. What we have built, have a dynamic pricing and revenue management tool. Obviously, what we're trying to do is to maximize booking for our homeowners, and obviously trying to find the right quality of bookings as well. So looking at the type of properties that they have, the location, the quality of the properties, how and obviously seasonality, any events that is happening, etc. So we have built that internally, and we're lucky enough now to rely on 7 years of data to be able to look at that as well. Another thing that we have built ourselves is our lead management system. So inquiries and guest inquiring will be coming from different platforms and different sources, and how do we manage to join that up and concentrate this into one system to actually have the best and fastest response for those guests. We have built our own booking platform, and we will be doing a relaunch next year with some new features, which is really exciting. So watch this space. It'll be very exciting. And we talked earlier as well about the mobile technology, sort of logistics. You talked about the challenge of logistics, and we have built that ourselves to be able to really scale our business. And what we've outsourced, well, I think part of the channel distribution, which I'm sure you know a lot about, we have outsourced to be able to really scale fast.
Okay, so let's talk about channel management, or let's talk about distribution. Sure. You say you had to build lead management tool because you receive inquiries. So what's the percentage between inquiries and instant booking?
I would say probably 30 to 40% of people would book instantly, probably about 40%, and the rest would be inquiring. I think what's interesting is what I find is that customers and guests coming to those cities really want to talk to someone. They want to have that local knowledge. And obviously, those online travel agents, the likes of Vrbo, Airbnb, etc., are trying to develop as much as they can in terms of sharing that knowledge, but that does not replace a local contact that would be telling you a little bit more about it. And when people come and spend a considerable amount of money, they want to know who they're talking to. And I think it's interesting because the sector is quite fragmented in Europe, for example, and on those online travel agents, you have a lot of different players, and it's how you stand out and how you are able to provide that consistency in service. And that's what people are looking for. They're looking for someone they know they can trust, and that often goes with having that first contact with our team to be able to understand who you are, what you do, and what do your homes look like, what's around, what's to do, how would I get from the airport, etc. And I find that a lot of people like to have that personal connection to create a really personalized experience.
So it must be related to the average booking value. What's your average booking value?
We would be on average at around £3,000.
Okay. So it's definitely luxury.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I mean, London is an expensive city, as I'm sure you know.
Yes. Well, so is LA and Paris.
True.
And so inquiries, where do they come from? Which platform do you use to market your luxury properties?
I mean, we use different platforms. Obviously, the likes of Vrbo, for example, Airbnb. We have the partnership that I was talking to you about earlier from Marriott that have developed their brand Homes and Villas. I think what's interesting is we're looking for the type of the channel we work with would be really linked to the type of clients that are looking for our homes. So a typical client for us would be a family coming from the US. They want to tour Europe. They want to visit Los Angeles. And what they want is space, comfort, and the opportunity, if you just picture yourself running around in London, visiting all the sites. And when you come home, you just want to be relaxing on your balcony or your terrace. Kids would be running around playing in the garden. So that's the type of client we have, and we're trying obviously to match that with the channels we work with. What's interesting, we still have about 15% of our properties that would be 1 bedrooms, and obviously those would be potentially matching better with our corporate clients. So people who would be coming for projects to one of the cities for a few weeks or a few months and looking for a place to stay that is probably a little bit has a bit more character than potentially a service department, maybe a little bit more space, and somewhere where they feel like they can just really sort of settle in for a few weeks or a few months.
So you also do midterm bookings?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we do start as short as 3 or 4 nights, but we have regularly people who would come for 2, 3 or 4 months. Obviously, the concept and what we offer is, when you move in, all the bills are paid for. You just move in there. You don't have anything to do. And again, it's that ease and that service. We would send someone every week to change the linen, clean the property, etc. And that would be from a few nights to a few months. Yeah.
Nice. So how's the relationship with Rentals United going? Are you happy?
Yeah, absolutely. It's going great. And I was saying earlier, it's interesting because managing those relationship with each platform individually is complicated, right? And it's difficult. And I find that allowing us to focus on what we do best, which is managing private homes, is what we want to do. And that's really one thing that we found really helped us scaling. So yeah, absolutely happy with the relationship.
Great, thanks so much. So last question before we do a quick true false. And the question is your thoughts on consolidation. Is Veeve up for sale?
That's a good question. I guess that probably would be more a question for my CFO, my CEO. But look, I think it's been a very interesting market, and in general, we've seen a lot of sort of merging and movements. I think for us, what we're looking to do is we're looking at first other territories and places that we feel we would be wanting to grow towards. We find that our market, which is local urban market, is something that we really like. So places like Sydney, for example, or others are places we're looking at. So, never say never. We'll see how things are going. But, the first thing we're looking at for now is to have that opportunity to grow into other territories. So you are you saying you're gonna acquire maybe in Sydney? Is that part of the plan? I mean all options are on the table. I think what we want to do is we really want to grow, and we found ourselves being quite successful in those cities, and we see that our guests have appetite for other cities where they want to stay with Veeve. So obviously now we have 3, and we're really looking to grow to other places. So all options on the table, but the first thing for us and the first step is to look at where we would want to go. Wonderful. Great. Well, I wish you all the best for 2020. And let's do a quick true or false. So the vacation rental, so you say true or false? There's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you believe in or what you think is right. So vacation rental industry will topple the hotel industry next year. False. Voice activated travel assistants are must. True. Google will become the only OTA. False. Consolidation in the tech industry is bad for property managers. False. Consolidation of property management companies is bad for guests. False. Vacation rental growth in urban areas will continue despite regulations. True. We didn't talk about regulations. Next time I'll have you on the show. Sure. You have to invest in technology because guests' needs are changing. True. Keyless locks are a must. True. US brands will have a hard time implementing in Europe. True. When space travel becomes available, you'll scale Veeve into lunar territory. Absolutely. Of course you will. Well, thanks so much for doing this with me. I love your business. I can't wait to stay in a Veeve apartment, actually. Well, you're going to London. Absolutely. You're welcome. If you come to one of our cities, we'd absolutely love to have you staying with us. Great. I might take you up on that. So thanks so much and take care. Cheers. Thank you very much. Cheers. Cheers.